what we did for example 2 was we graphed f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 2. Now we need to find the domain, find the range, determine where it's increasing and where it's decreasing. Remember, increasing, ignore the arrows that you're putting to say that it goes on forever, right? And just think about how you're encountering the graph. Is the graph going up, or is the graph going down as you read it like you would read a sentence in a book, okay? Where it's above x equals 0, sorry, y equals 0, and where it's below y equals 0. Okay, well, that's what those two mean. So just so you have these visuals in your head. We found that the vertex is at 1, 4. That means our axis of symmetry is just at x equals whatever your x value is for your vertex. We found our y-intercept because it's just the value of c, and that's a positive 2, so 0, positive 2. Okay, and then it says, well, yeah, let's just do domain and range. So remember, domain is all of your x values. Where is it on the graph from positive x to negative x? Does it stop anywhere or does it go on forever? Those arrows, they're going down, but they're also going in the negative x direction and in the positive x direction, right? So that domain is actually going to be x such that x is all real numbers. Or the domain is negative infinity to infinity. Range, remember, is our y values, so those are going to be different. Y means up and down, right? So here's positive y, here is negative y. It does not go higher than y equals 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's not going above y equals 4, but it does go below 4 forever, right? So y such that y is less than or equal to 4, or from negative infinity to 4 included, because that is the vertex. That is a point on the graph. Good. Remember, your range is where's the graph up and down. Your domain is where's the graph left to right. Good. All right. Where is it increasing and where is it decreasing? So that was the letter B. That the domain is all real numbers. The range is from negative infinity to 4, including. Here's the graph of it. Where is it increasing and where is it decreasing? When we're asking for where is it increasing, we are putting it in terms of x. Okay, remember we say from x1 to x sub 2, for example, right? We don't really write it like that. It's increasing from x sub 1, comma, sorry, x sub 2. So where is it increasing? Only on the x-axis. Remember that increasing means it's going up. It's going to change direction right here, right here. It stops going up and it starts going down, just like this one does. It goes up until we get to the vertex and then it starts going down. So it is increasing on the interval from, if you look at this, sorry, I can't fit them. If you look at this, you're going from a down arrow. That's negative infinity, right? On our x-axis, that's negative infinity. But according to x, we stop going up, we stop increasing at x equals +1, right? X equals 1. It's already labeled, sorry, it's already labeled. At x equals 1, we stop increasing. But we include that, sorry, it should be a bracket. Good. Then they said, where is x decreasing? It's increasing from negative infinity to 1. Where is it decreasing? It begins decreasing at 1, and it decreases forever in the positive x direction. Okay. Decreasing and increasing are always going to have brackets because there's always change happening, okay? Except that negative and positive infinity never get brackets. But any other terms, they're going to have brackets around them. So that's the answer to C. It's increasing from negative infinity to 1 included. It's decreasing from +1 included to infinity. Okay. Now above and below the x-axis is where we need to use the quadratic formula, or we need to factor it because they're asking where the function is greater than 0. Where is the function above the x-axis? Where is the function below the x-axis? If we carried out, right, we would end up there and there, but we need to know what those terms actually are. We don't know them. We need to find our x-intercepts. Okay, so for this graph, we need to find our x-intercepts, and then we're going to say it's below. We're going to say it's above the x-axis, between that x-intercept and that x-intercept, and then we're going to say it's below the x-axis from negative infinity to that point, and then from that point to positive infinity. Okay, our equation was 0 equals -2x² plus 4x plus 2, right? If we're going to put this into the quadratic formula. A is -2, B is 4, C is 2. Sometimes you will be able to do it without, you can just do it by factoring, but in this case, we cannot do it by factoring. So just to expedite it, I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Remember, the quadratic formula is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b² minus 4ac over 2a, right? All right, so we're just going to put in 4 for b, and we're going to put in -2 for a and a +2 for c. That means x becomes -4 plus or minus the square root of 4² minus 4 times -2 times +2. And I was hesitant to finish example 2 because this is so long-winded. So if you lose it, that is okay. Okay, I wanted to skip it, but it's important to be thorough. So we will continue. And if you're following, excellent. Pat yourself on the back. We've got -4 plus or minus the square root. 4 squared is 16, right? And we can do this all with your calculator if you want. So you can just type in 4 squared minus 4 times -2 times 2, right? You get the number 32. So now we're taking -4 plus or minus the square root of 32, and we're putting it over 2 times -2 is a -4, right? Okay, we have -4 plus or minus the square root of 32. If we think about the square root of 32, let's factor out 32. Okay, we want to make this, put this in its simplest form, which is not actually the square root of 32. You want to factor out any perfect squares from 32. What is a perfect square of 32? What's 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. You can't divide 32 by 9. What's 4 squared? It's 16, right? Can you take 32 and divide it by 16? You can't. So 32 is actually the square root of 16 times the square root of 2, right? The square root of 16 is 4. So you can simplify the square root of 32 to 4 square root of 2. I'm now going to call this x equals -4 plus or minus 4 square root of 2 over -4. Okay? Now, separate it out. -4 divided by -4, and then 4 square root of 2 divided by -4. -4 divided by -4 is just 1, okay? 4 square root of 2 divided by 4 is just square root of 2, right? That -4 and that -4 become a +1. That 4 and that 4 become a 1. Square root of 2. So now x is 1 plus, square root of 2 and 1 minus square root of 2. They're not being multiplied, they're being subtracted. So it's a negative 0.414 to 0.41. So those are our x values. Those are where it's crossing. So if you come back here, now you can name that point. X1 is 0.414. Sorry, negative 0.414. X2 is 2.414. Oops. Good. So when they're asking where is it greater than 0 and where is it less than 0, what we're going to write is f of x is greater than 0 at. Where is it above 0? It's between those two, okay? So not at that point, but between them. So that's why the parentheses, not the bracket. 0.414 until negative 0.414, positive 2.414 is where it's above the x-axis. We said that was purple, right? All of this. And then where is it below the x-axis? We said it was kind of orange colored. Everything over here and everything over here, right? This line. So f of x is below the x-axis from -infinity to negative 0.414. Not including it, right? Because that's actually at 0. Union with or comma 2.414 to positive infinity. Okay. So you can call it 1 minus the square root of 2, or you can put the decimal depending on what they ask, 1 plus square root of 2. So that's what they mean when determine whether it's above the x-axis or below the x-axis. All right, example 3 asks us to do the same. So we're going to graph it. We're going to find the domain and the range of it. We're going to determine where it's increasing and where it's decreasing, where it's above the x-axis and where it's below the x-axis. Our quadratic equation is f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. Don't worry, that last one was the only hard one. The only hard one. Equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. Good. So you're going to say, what is my A? My A is 1. What is my B? My B is -4. My C is +4. Okay. Remember, in order to graph it, we need to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the y-intercept. Your vertex, the way you find your x value for your vertex is you say negative b over 2a. And the b's and a values that you're using are listed right here. So negative b becomes a negative, -4, and a is 1. So we have -4, which is a +4 over 2 times 1, which is 2. So my x value is just 2. My y value, I take f of x and I change it to f of 2. F of 2 is 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 4. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So I have 4 minus 8 plus 4, right? 4 minus 8 is a -4 plus 4 is 0. So the x value of my vertex is 2. My y value is 0. That point is the point 2, 0 as my vertex. If you know your vertex, you know your axis of symmetry. It's just the x value of your vertex as a straight up and down line. So it's a line at x equals 2. And then if you can look at your original function, you know your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is the point 0, c. In our case, the c is a 4. 0, +4. Okay, that is enough information to graph this parabola. It's a positive. Okay. Oh, I should have put it over in the corner. Sorry. It's all on this side, basically. All right, our vertex is at 2, 0. So that's my vertex. That means my axis of symmetry is right over it. Good. And my y-intercept is at 0, 4. So +4. So that means that's half my parabola, right? From my lowest point up to that y-intercept, count the distance between x equals 2 and the point 0, 4. Between 0 and 2, right? So that means that this is 2, 4. The distance between 0 and 2 is 2 units. That means I need to go over 2 units to 4, 4 for the rest of my graph. Good? Not great, but okay. You get what I'm very not good at curved lines. Based on the y-intercept and the vertex, I can make the whole graph, okay? So we graphed it. Now they're asking us to find, A was graph it, B is find the domain and range. Remember, domain is your x values. As long as you have arrows going in both directions on the x-axis, your domain is going to be from -infinity to infinity, just like it was last time. Your range, however, is where is it up and down? Where is it on the y-axis? It starts at 0, right? This is y equals 0, and it goes on forever. So I'm going to call this range. Oops. Including the number 0 going on forever. So that's supposed to be a bracket. 0, infinity, parentheses. Did not make that clear enough. Good. So our domain is all real numbers. Our range is everything above the x-axis or above y equals 0. C, where is it increasing and where is it decreasing? Again, we're just going to look at our parabola itself and specifically at our vertex. Our vertex is at x equals 2. So that means if I'm reading this, the first encounter is going to be decreasing. So we're going to say it's decreasing from negative infinity to what on the x-axis? To 2, including. Then it's increasing from 2 to infinity. It goes down here, it goes up. At this point, it can be decreasing and increasing at the same time, because from this point to here, it's decreasing. From this point to here, it's increasing. So that's why we have brackets on the 2 in both answers. All right. Determine where it's greater than 0 and where it's less than 0. If we look at it, right, it touches 0 at x equals 2, but it never goes below 0, right? So it's never less than 0, right? It does not go below 0. It's above 0. From negative infinity to 2. And from 2 to infinity. So because it's touching 0 at 2, we can't include 2. But everywhere else, from infinity, from negative infinity to infinity, but not including 2. That's what that means. We took out the 2. You would not say it's ever less than 0, but you can say it is equal 0 at x equals 2. Example 4, we have f of x. No, it's not. Let's do one more, a little bit simpler one. X squared minus 2x minus 8. Good. All right. So we need to graph it. We need to find the domain. We need to find the range. You are welcome to graph it on Desmos. What do we know about it? Sorry, I dropped my pen. All right. X squared minus 2x minus 8. I'm going to say A is 1, B is -2, C is -8. Good. Vertex. The X value is -B over 2A. In this case, it's a -2 over 2 times 1. -2 just becomes a 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. My Y value for my vertex means I take f of x and I turn it into f of 1 equals 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 8. Good. One minus 2 minus 8. 1 minus 2 is -1. -1 minus 8 is a -9. So my vertex is at 1, -9. Good. My axis of symmetry is at x equals +1, and my y-intercept is at 0c, which is 0, -8. Let's graph it. All right, I know my axis of symmetry is at x equals 1. I know that my vertex is at 1, -9. So right here, oh, sorry, 1, -9. This is x equals +1, and that my y-intercept is 0, -8. So I went up 1 to the left 1. That means to make it symmetric, I need to go up 1 to the right 1. And there's my graph. Good. Find the domain and find the range. Well, we can kind of be looking at the graph. Okay. The domain -infinity to positive, right? Because they're going forever. Range, it's opening up. So the lowest it gets on the y-axis is -9. But it goes on forever. C, where is it increasing? And where is it decreasing on the x-axis? So if I'm looking at this, it's going down first, and then it's coming up. Good. So it's a decreasing on the x-axis. This is x equals -1. So it's decreasing from -infinity to +1. And then it's increasing from +1 to infinity. Where is it above the x-axis and where is it below the x-axis? So in this case, we need to find the x-intercepts. All right, it should be more straightforward. What we have is, so we need to find our x-intercepts. What do we do when we want to find an x-intercept? We make y 0. So instead of f of x equals x squared minus 2x minus 8, we have 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 8. You're welcome to try to factor it, right? So we want two numbers that multiply to give us -8, but add to give us a -2. You can kind of guess around, but if I want to, there'd be a -4, +2, right? X plus 2 is 0. X minus 4 is 0. X is -2. X is +4. So my x-intercepts are 4, 0, and -2, 0. Good. So where is it above? F of x is greater than 0 at, right? So if we imagine it continues, it's greater than 0 at -infinity to -2, not including, because that is where it becomes 0, and 4 to +infinity. That is all above 0. Good. Where is it below 0? Between -2 and 4. It's below 0. Good. Great. Example 5 says a water balloon is launched from a stadium 100 feet above the ground at an inclination of 45 degrees to the horizontal with an initial velocity of 100 feet per second. The height of the balloon above the ground can be modeled by h of x equals -32 over 10,000 x squared plus x plus 100, where x is the horizontal distance of the projectile from the base of the stadium. Find the max height of the projectile. So the y value, right? If we were to Here's 100 feet in the air. We're throwing it 100 feet at an inclination of 45. And it's gonna, when you throw something, it goes like this, right? Find the maximum height of the projectile. What is the height of that? So what is the y value of the vertex, right? Because that's the vertex. And the height, here the height's 100, here the height is y. So what is the y value of the vertex? And how far from the base of the stadium will the water balloon hit the ground? So here is 0, right? Here's our x value, x-axis. Here x is 0, y is 100. Here x is 0, y is 0, right? And so we want to know what will be the x value of, yeah, what are the x-intercepts, right? When y is 0. If y equals 0, what is that other x? 1, 0, 0. 1 is x 0. So the maximum height of the projectile, we know this equation and we just need to find the vertex. What's the formula for finding the x value of the vertex? Negative b over 2a, right? In this case, a is negative 32 over 10,000. B is 1 and C is 100, right? So negative B is negative 1, 2 times negative 32 divided by 10,000. All right, negative 32 divided by 10,000. Times 2 gives me that. And so it's negative 1 divided by negative 0.0064. 156.25. I think we're talking about feet, right? That's as high as it will get. And then what are the x-intercepts? So if we have, just like the last thing we did, 0 equals and you can put it into a quadratic formula, right? And so we get A is B is 1 and C is 100, or let me the study guides are so long because I want to make sure that I cover everything that might show up on the exam. But as you know, the exams are not as long as the study guides. So number 1 asks to find f of 0, f of 1, f of negative 1, f of negative x, negative f of x plus 1, and f of 3x, and f of x plus h for the function 4x squared plus 2x minus 4. What this means is you're going to take this equation, this function, and you're going to put in that number for x. So f of 0 means it's 4 times 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 4. So that's just negative 4. Because 4 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0. You just have negative 4. Good. F of positive 1 means we're going to take that 4, multiply it by 1 squared, 2 times 1, subtract 4. That just means 4 plus 2 minus 4, which is 2, right? Because the 4 and the negative 4 cancel out. So f of 1 is 2. F of negative 1 is 4 times negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 4. The negative 1 squared becomes a positive 1, so that's 4 minus 2 minus 4, which is negative 2. And negative x means you're not going to get one number as your answer. You're just changing all the x's to negative x's. So you have a 4 times a negative x squared plus 2 times a negative x minus 4. Negative x squared, the negative times the negative becomes a positive x squared. So that's just 4x squared. It's unchanged by being negative. But here, negative x times a positive 2 becomes a negative 2x. And then the 4 is unchanged. So that one becomes 4x squared minus 2x minus 4. The difference here is you're taking the entire expression and making it negative. So negative f of x. This one's, you're making the x negative. Here you're making the y negative. Good? So that means you're taking a negative and putting it in front of the whole thing. Negative 4x squared plus 2x minus 4. So you're now going to distribute that negative to the 4x squared, the 2x, and the negative 4. And what you get is negative 4x squared minus 2x plus 4. F of x plus 1 means you replace all the x's with x plus 1s. F of x plus 1 is not a negative, just looking at that one, is a 4x plus 1 squared plus 2 times the quantity x plus 1 minus 4. What happens now is we take that x plus 1 and we multiply it by itself. So you still have the 4x plus 1 times x plus 1. Now we can distribute that 2. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. I would multiply this out before I combine like terms, but do whatever you want. X times x is x squared. X times 1 is x. 1 times x is x. 1 times 1 is 1. All being multiplied by 4. Plus 2x minus 1, combine, minus 2. Good? 4x squared plus 4 times x is 4x. 4 times x is 4x. So that's 8x plus 4. No parentheses, sorry. Plus 2x minus 1. So that becomes 4x squared plus 10x plus 3. Good. F of 3x. 4 times 3x squared plus 2 times 3x minus 4. 3x squared is 9, sorry, times 9x squared, because 3 squared is 9, x squared is x squared. 2 times 3 is 6x. 4 times 9 is 36, right? 36x squared plus 6x minus 4. Good. And then f of x plus h. Becomes 4 times x plus h squared plus 2x plus h minus 4. Again, you have to multiply the x plus h times itself for that first one, distribute the 2x and 2h, subtract the 4 times x squared plus 2hx plus h squared, right? Plus 2x plus 2h minus 4x squared plus 8hx plus 4h squared plus 2x plus 2h minus 4. Yeah, that's in its simplest form. All right, that's your first one. We will go on to other ones on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.